founded by Jesus on the bedrock of Simon Peter more than 2 millennia ago. The facade of the Catholic Church comprises the 3 pillars of faith, hope, and charity. At the dawn of the new millennium, amid uncertainties and fear, it was Pope St. John Paul II who gave renewed hope to the people of God by fixing their gaze on the Lord as they confront challenges anew. The Polish Pope courageously and prophetically led his flock through the threshold of hope into the 21st century, giving them strength to bear witness to the gospel in challenging times.
Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Open your hearts, open up your hearts to Christ.
His worthy successor, Benedict XVI, remained a powerful beacon of doctrinal charity at a time when it faced challenges in an increasingly secular world. His entire pontificate was a powerful testimony of the virtue of faith until he stepped down in 2013, surprising the Catholic world. Perhaps very few Catholics expected that the successor of Pope Benedict XVI would usher in winds of change through a pontificate that would be a living catechesis of humility distilled from the cardinal virtue of charity embodied by the Argentine Pope. Not many would have thought that the day of the election of the new pontiff itself would prove tangible signs of a new style of Petrine pastoral care rooted in mercy and Christian charity. As the bells of St. Peter pealed joyfully on March 13th, 2013, and the entire world waited with bated breath for the new pope after white smoke wafted out of the chimney of the Sistine Chapel, Cardinal Protodeacon Jean-Louis Thuram made the habeas papam announcement that Cardinal Jorge Mario Bergoglio of Argentina has been elected the new pope, and he has taken the name of Francis.
Bergoglio.
Soon, the new pontiff appeared on the balcony, and the world was in for a surprise, as he was dressed in a simple white papal cassock, without the customary ermine-lined cape and red embroidered stole worn by his predecessors. Cameras zoomed in on his steel pectoral cross, bearing an engraving of the Good Shepherd that he used to wear as a cardinal. It became evident that the gold cross of his predecessors had taken a back seat, along with the papal ostentatiousness that had marked previous pontificates down the centuries.
Voi sapete che il dovere del conclave era di dare un vescovo a Roma. Sembra che i miei fratelli cardinali sono andati a prenderlo quasi alla fine del mondo, ma siamo qui. Facciamo in silenzio questa preghiera di voi su di me.
The world got a foretaste of the course of the new pontificate when, on the evening of his election, the first Latin American pontiff shared the same bus with other cardinals to return to Casa Santa Marta, the residence for cardinals and other visiting prelates, where he had been residing prior to the conclave. He once again surprised everyone by announcing that he would not be residing in the Apostolic Palace. Instead, he chose a suite in Casa Santa Marta. By choosing to depart from convention, Pope Francis earned the moniker the Pope of Surprises. A great devotee of St. Joseph, it was not coincidental that the new Pope chose to hold his papal inauguration on March 19th, the solemnity of the protector of the Catholic Church. Three days prior to assuming his Petrine mission, Pope Francis spoke with journalists, during which he revealed the reason why he departed from tradition and chose the name Francis, a first of its kind in the list of pontiffs to date. He explained that he admired the Italian saint as he brought the idea of poverty to Christianity against the luxury and pride of the ecclesiastical and civil authorities of his time. The 86-year-old pontiff's humble ways and simplicity dates back to the days when he was serving as the Archbishop of Buenos Aires in the Argentinian capital. Instead of residing in the magnificent residence of the Archbishop, he chose to stay in a modest apartment and took the underground metro to the Curia every day. He was known to prepare his own meals and carry his own bag whenever he traveled. His humility and love for simplicity perhaps stem from the fact that he was born the son of Italian immigrants, Mario Bergoglio and Regina Savori, who had to leave their home in the northern part of Italy because of poverty and the rise of fascism. A chemical technician, the young Bergoglio felt the calling to the priesthood, and he joined the Diocesan Seminary of Villa Devoto in Buenos Aires. 3 years later, he joined the Society of Jesus on March 11, 1958. Before being ordained on December 13, 1969, by Archbishop Ramon Jose Castellano, the future Pope served as faculty of literature and philosophy in 2 institutions. His ascent in the ecclesiastical ladder began in 1973, when he was made provincial of the Jesuits in his home country, and he remained so for 6 years. After serving in the Colegio de San Jose, he went to Germany in 1985 to wind up his doctoral thesis. Pope St. John Paul II appointed him Auxiliary of Buenos Aires on May 20th, 1992, and 7 days later, he was consecrated bishop by Cardinal Antonio Quarencino of Buenos Aires. He later succeeded the cardinal on February 28, 1998, as the primate of Argentina and local ordinary for Oriental Rite Catholics. In February 2001, Archbishop Bergoglio received the cardinal's hat. It was that eventful journey outside Rome on July 8th to the island of Lampedusa that showed the world Pope Francis was indeed prioritizing charity in his pastoral care. In Lampedusa, which is home to a large number of refugees and migrants, he threw a wreath into the waters of the Mediterranean, paying homage to all the hapless migrants who perished while trying to cross over to Europe. During Holy Mass, he slammed the indifference of the global community to the plight of migrants and awakened its conscience to show clarity to cross the perilous waters of the Mediterranean to seek a better future in Europe. And that powerful gesture was just the beginning of powerful papal interventions on behalf of the suffering masses. 2 years into his pontificate, he scripted history by announcing an extraordinary Jubilee of Mercy, which began on December 8th, 2015, and went on until November 20th, 2016.
Nessuno può essere escluso dalla misericordia di Dio. Tutti conoscono la strada per accedervi e la Chiesa è la casa che tutti accoglie e nessuno rifiuta. Le sue porte permangono spalancate perché quanti sono toccati dalla grazia possano trovare la certezza del perdono.
It was special in many ways, as holy doors were opened in special shrines and cathedrals around the world. That year, an entire corps of missionaries of mercy was constituted in dioceses to forgive grave sins that are usually reserved for the apostolic penitentiary. Two key hallmarks of this Franciscan pontificate are inclusiveness and reforms. To mark the beginning of the much-awaited overhaul of the Roman Curia, the Argentine pontiff streamlined the bureaucracy by appointing 8 cardinals from different nations to the newly created Council of Cardinal Advisors. He also proved that he was a man of his word by doing away with the bonuses paid to employees of the Holy See and the 25,000 euros given to cardinals on the Board of Supervisors for the Vatican Bank. That amount was instead sent for charitable deeds. It took almost 9 long years for the Holy Father to streamline the Curia and make it inclusive. The 54-page Constitution, Predicate Evangelium, which came into effect in June last year, stressed that lay men and women should also be given roles of governance in the Curia. Perhaps no other pontiffs in the history of the Church have done so much as Pope Francis to break glass ceilings in the Roman Curia and bring women to leadership positions. He has always championed the cause of women's empowerment and spared no efforts to put this into action. The Holy Father hogged the limelight by appointing a woman as the Secretary General of the Government of Vatican City State. It was Italian nun, Sister Raffaella Petrini, who was placed in this key position on November 4th, 2021. He also appointed Sister Yvonne Ruengo to France, Sister Petrini, and consecrated Virgin Maria Lea Servino of Argentina as members of the Dicastery for Bishops, shaking the foundations of male bastions. Pope Francis's gender inclusiveness became even more evident in 2021, when in January of that year, he authorized bishops to elevate women to the ministries of lector and acolyte, which were earlier reserved to men. The Pope of Surprises has also earned a place in history as the first pontiff to kiss the feet of a woman and non-Catholic during the ritual of washing of feet on Maundy Thursday. After taking over the Petrine office in 2013, he visited the Casal del Marmo detention unit in Rome on Holy Thursday and conducted the ritual. One of the male inmates and the woman were Muslims. The Pope's penchant to depart from convention has reflected in all the consistories, in which he gave the cardinal's hat to prelates from impoverished third world nations such as Burkina Faso and Haiti, as well as from Muslim-majority nations, where the Catholics are a minuscule minority. In a first of its kind, he handed over the red hat to his almoner, Konrad Krajewski, thus establishing a new tradition. Like his illustrious predecessors, Pope Francis too has penned outstanding encyclicals. 3 months after he began his Petrine ministry, the Holy Father promulgated the encyclical Lumen Fidei, or the Light of Faith, whose first draft was written by Benedict XVI. It was followed by Laudato Si in 2015, which takes its name from the canticle of St. Francis of Assisi, Praise be to you, my Lord. Focusing on ecology, it reminds everyone that the Earth is a common home that has to be protected from exploitation, pollution, and other factors that trigger climate change. Complementing Laudato Si came Fratelli Tutti 5 years later, and it proposed fraternity and social friendship to build a better and just world. 10 years on the throne of St. Peter came with its fair share of controversies for Pope Francis. His drift from conventions and off-the-cuff remarks do not always go down well with a certain section of believers. Often, his remarks have been twisted out of context by the secular media to portray him as going contrary to Catholic doctrine. A classic example was his "Who am I to judge" remark in 2013 about homosexuals who earnestly seek God.
Quello è lo cattivo. Se una persona è gay e cerca il Signore e ha buona volontà, ma chi sono io per giudicarla?
Another major controversy that did cause ripples in the church was after the Holy Father published the apostolic exhortation Amoris Laetitia. In it, Pope Francis maintained that civilly remarried Catholic couples should be made to feel part of the church through personal and pastoral discernment on a case-by-case basis. However, this was interpreted by a section of the church as a change to the sacramental discipline regarding penance in the Eucharist. When the Holy Father issued the Motu Proprio Traditionis Custodes in July 2021, it upset believers attached to the traditional Latin Mass. Why? Because it repealed Summorum Pontificum, issued by Benedict XVI, which liberalized the celebration of the old rite. The new Motu Proprio granted bishops the liberty to permit or suppress the celebration of Mass in the extraordinary rite using the 1962 Missal. It was interpreted as harsh and unwarranted in several church circles. Our Holy Father has gone down in history as the Pope of Synodality, who took the prophetic and courageous decision to listen to everyone, including those who are alienated, and take them all in a journey towards seeking God together. The key milestones in his pontificate are the Synods of the Family, Young People, and Synodality. The Synod of the Family, which came to a close on October 25th, 2015, saw the reiteration of the definition of marriage as a union between one man and a woman. It also witnessed the Church listening to the voice of married couples, allowing rich and lively dialogue. The current Synod on Synodality, which will run until October next year, is meant to eliminate clericalism and be listeners to the voices that are seldom heard.
El sínodo ha visto en la capacidad de perdonar y perdonarse no solo una manera de evitar las divisiones en familia, sino también una aportación a la sociedad para que sea menos mala y menos cruel. Ciertamente las familias cristianas pueden hacer mucho por la sociedad y por la Iglesia.
From the onset of his papacy, the Holy Father has been appealing for peace and an end to the weapons trade, using very strong words to condemn it. Be it conflicts in Asia or Africa, he has been using his weekend catechesis and Sunday Angelius to appeal for peace in the world. From the day war broke out in Ukraine last year, the Holy Father has left no stone unturned to clamor for peace and an end to hostilities. He departed from protocol by personally visiting the Russian ambassador at the Chancery in Rome soon after the invasion began. As the war raged on and the humanitarian crisis deepened, the Holy Father dispatched ambulances and essential supplies more than once through his trusted aide and almoner, Cardinal Konrad Krajewski.
Vergine Immacolata, avrei voluto oggi portarti il ringraziamento del popolo ucraino.
In December last year, the Holy Father grabbed headlines when he broke down during a prayer service in Rome as he made a passionate appeal for the war-ravaged country. Once again, the Pope of Surprises made a powerful symbolic gesture in a bid to secure lasting peace in the newly nascent country of South Sudan, where a political rift triggered a civil war that killed thousands and displaced millions. In April 2019, Pope Francis invited President Slava Kiir, his arch-rival Riek Machar, Rebecca Garang, the widow of former leader John Garang, and Kiir's first vice president, Taban Dengai, to the Vatican for a 2-day retreat. While granting them an audience, the pontiff knelt and kissed each one's feet, imploring them to lay down weapons and sit at the negotiating table. This later paved the way for discussions that brought the warring leaders together. when the COVID-19 pandemic took the world by storm, and when believers were caught unaware, the Holy Father undertook something unusual to provide spiritual solace. He delivered an extraordinary Urbi et Orbi, or to the city and to the world blessing, on March 27th, 2020, praying for an end to the pandemic. Over the past 10 years, Pope Francis has made 40 international apostolic visits and 39 domestic pastoral visits across Italy and its adjoining islands. The Holy Father has so far visited more than 50 countries, and his first apostolic visit was in July 2013 to Brazil to attend World Youth Day, which was held in Rio de Janeiro. He became the first pontiff after Pope St. John Paul II to visit Cuba. During Pope Francis's visit to the island in September 2015, he met President Raul Castro and also held talks with visiting Russian Orthodox Patriarch Kirill. Pope Francis has so far visited the Maria Maggiore Basilica in Rome more than 100 times, as he prays before the onset and at the conclusion of apostolic visits before the historic Salis Romani Populi Marian icon. He became the first pontiff to visit the Persian Gulf state of the United Arab Emirates. During the visit from February 3rd to 5th in 2019, he signed the document on human fraternity for world peace and living together with the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, which called for harmony and peace among various religions for peaceful coexistence. Perhaps it will be his Iraq apostolic visit that will be remembered as the one that produced the most tangible positive results. During the visit that lasted from March 5th to 8th, 2021, His Holiness the Pope visited the Christian areas ravaged by the Islamic State hordes and gave renewed hope to the remnant Christian communities to start life anew and remain rooted to the faith. In spite of his nagging knee issue, the Holy Father uses a wheelchair to continue his apostolic visits, to bring the closeness of Peter to local churches and to reaffirm local communities in their faith. Pope Francis became a true messenger of healing and reconciliation when he visited Canada from July 24th to 29th last year. The highlight of his journey was to heal the deep and raw wounds of the Indigenous peoples who suffered grave injustice under the infamous residential school project. Under this initiative, kids from Indigenous communities were forcibly separated from their parents and enrolled in church schools to be westernized. Because of abuse, alienation, and unhygienic conditions, many of them perished, ending up in mass graves. Pope Francis became the first pontiff to acknowledge the tragedy and seek forgiveness and reconciliation from the indigenous peoples.
Pido perdón por la manera en la que lamentablemente muchos cristianos adoptaron la mentalidad colonialista de las potencias que oprimieron a los pueblos indígenas.
As more nations seek the comfort in the shadow of Peter, Pope Francis will strive to bring peace, healing, and reconciliation and continue his God-given Petrine ministry.